What is up, boyos? Welcome to the MCU Spoiler Cast. I don't normally host this, but Nick's internet is freaking out, so it's probably better to have me host it instead of him. But he's here. He's here with me as well.
For the most part.
Yeah, he's here for the most part. Today we're talking about Miss Marvel, which is a Marvel television show. Another one, because we needed
Disney Plus.
We needed another one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We just needed one more of these shows. You know, I'd say like 12 more. I still won't have enough, you know? We just need more all the time. You know, I would say let's forget about even waiting for one of these shows to end. Let's just have them going simultaneously.
Just start season 1, the next episode 2 of the show, you start another show.
Yeah.
So now there's 2 shows going, and then episode 3 of that first show, you have episode 2 and 3, and now another one, and then another one at 4 until it's 6. And then once you hit 6, then you start a different show. So that first one is ended. You're on a new show. The second one is on episode 5, and then we'll make it real complicated.
Well, I think,
and then the show will cease to exist because fuck that.
I think what they should do: Moon Knight season 2 and Moon Knight season 3 premiere same day.
Same day. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I think. Anyway.
Yeah. I agree.
Nick, what do you think? What do you think of Miss Marvel? How do you feel about it?
Can I be real with you?
Yeah, be real with you.
I fucking hated it.
Wow.
I hated it so much.
This
is one of the worst Marvel things I've ever watched.
Wow.
Yes. Aside from 2 things that they didn't really keep with. The first one being the style, like the art style, you know, where they'd have the cuts and the she's like texting on the phone and it has like the shit going on in the background. So fucking cool. Such a good little thing. Just keeps the world alive, keeps the focus on the story and what's going on, keeps it interesting, keeps it fresh without having just like, oh look, little fucking chat bubbles. Second thing, I really, really liked the cultural shots of like when they go to India or Pakistan or wherever they go. They don't really specify.
It's Pakistan.
I think it is Pakistan. But the cultural shots where there's just like they're going through like stalls and stuff, and it has no characters in it. It's literally just like shots of like the food or the clothes or stuff like that. I'm like, that is really cool. And I'm really glad that they did it. I just wish the show was at least a little bit good.
Damn, dude.
That's harsh. I hated it. It was such a slog for me to get through it. If I have to say, if I was like an 11-year-old girl, I might have liked the show. But it's still not a good show. Like I can see the bones of the show, and I don't know. Like it's not good. The characters are bad. The villains are bad. The relationships between everybody is bad. There's too much going on and no focus on anything. And it just kind of loses me every single episode. It starts off and it's like, this is kind of cool. And it ends and I'm like, why the fuck? Why in the hell would this happen? Like what is there? It makes no sense. It's literally just, it was really bad. It was so bad. And that's how I feel. And we'll dive into it a little bit more. How did you feel? How did you feel about this?
I did not hate it as much as you. I didn't love it either. I think the problem I had with it was these shows need to be like 8 episodes. They need to be at least 8 episodes, if not 9. You know, like
this one needed like 12 or 13.
Because like you were saying, like the bones are there. Totally, like everything that I wanted to see was there, but it was so rushed. All of it was so rushed. The villains, it's like I like the idea of them, but it's
Mhm.
like they're bad, they're good, or they're good, they're bad, they're good. And it's like
Yeah.
that all happens within like 2 episodes. And it's like it's
If
way too
not one.
fast. Yeah, it's way too fast, way too quick. Things are jumping around. We just needed some episodes because, like, I think easily the best episode is the first episode where it's just her and her friend sort of like going around talking about Captain Marvel, talking about how they want to go to Avenger Con and just like hanging out, being teenagers. And I'm like, this show works really well. I really like. I think the girl who plays Kamala, I think she's great. I'm excited to
It's good.
see.
It's good.
I'm excited to see her in Miss Marvel in
Mhm.
the Marvels or whatever. Actually, she gives me like Tom Holland vibes, where she's like, "You're just like you're perfect for
Mhm.
this role." I really like her, and I like the I like the family aspect of it, but it felt
Yeah.
rushed. It felt like
Yeah.
we needed more time with that family to make all of this work, and it reminds me of like Peacemaker actually. If it was more like Peacemaker, not as far as like gritty and like cursing all the time or whatever. It's kind of got the same sort of story as Peacemaker, even where it's like we're dealing with this alien faction, but also this the government aspect of it as well, where like there's the government agents. It's got the same sort of thing. Peacemaker had 9 episodes to make it work, so we had some episodes where we just got to see the characters sort of like talking at a bar and like going to IHOP and like talking to each other. And
We had character development in
right,
Peacemaker, and yeah.
this show needed more of that. Um, but like the bones were there. I liked a lot of that stuff, and I think the style was cool, like you were saying.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know what it makes me think of? You know,
What's
Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
So in Batman
The
Arkham Knight,
video game?
the video game,
Okay, yeah.
there were these DLCs that were released, like thousands of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
So
Mhm,
many
mhm.
DLCs where it's like you could play as Catwoman, you could play as Red Hood, and all these different characters, and they're all really fun, really great, but they're all like an hour long, like so short, and you're like, I wish this was like
If
a full
that.
thing. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wish this was a full thing. That's how I feel about all of these Disney shows, where I'm like, I wish this was a full thing.
Yeah.
None of these feel like full things. They all
No.
feel like we have an idea for a thing, but we don't want to like fully dive in. We're just gonna sort of do this, and like I felt that like even dealing with like the prejudices of the like the mosque and stuff with the government, it never felt like they fully dove into like that where
They didn't have the time.
they didn't have the
They
time,
didn't
and
have the
also
time.
I feel like they didn't really want to go
It could
there.
be. It could
You
be.
know, it's like they
Yeah.
went there but they didn't fully go there, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like
Mhm.
they were scared to like step on someone's toes or something. But like there were moments that were cool, like Kamala's friend running for the whatever it is,
The council for the
the
mosque.
council, which is cool. As far as like they're actually dealing with like, oh, there's a bit of sexism within this like
Yeah.
culture,
Mhm.
and they did that, but then they just stopped that. It's
Yeah.
just gone until the last episode.
And they do that with everything.
Yeah,
in this show.
there's so many
Literally
things
everything in this show.
where they set up cool things and you're like, yeah, that's cool, and then it's just gone until the last episode. They wrap it all up, and that's what I mean. Like if it was 9 episodes and we could see more of those threads kind of thread through, and like her parents being upset that she's going to Avengers Con, it's like, okay, great, they don't like superheroes, then they find out she's a superhero, they're cool with it, they love
They're
it.
totally fine with it. They're
And
like
it's-
have everybody's laughing. Nobody's like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
even her friend is apparently doesn't like superheroes, and they have like this conversation, and you're like, you're my best friend. I would never hate you, but I hate every superhero. They don't get into that ever, except for one line at the at the end of the episode, at the end of the season. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. And I feel like I'm learning something I'm learning something about a character that I didn't know because it didn't tell me it, but I'm learning it in the worst possible way, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I liked Bruno as a character, the man in the chair as a
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
They didn't dive into anything that made him interesting though.
they have a like Ron Possible Kim or Ron Stoppable Kim Possible sort of thing, where he's like the best friend, but like eventually it's gonna lead to them like probably dating or something. Which I like.
It's
the thing that like pissed me off the most, I think, was when we got to the episode with like the red daggers, and it's like, dude, that just like popped up out of nowhere. It was just
and it happened so freaking quick. Everything happened in that one episode within 15 minutes. And it's like, you're supposed to care about this.
It's
insane. Like, I do not.
I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Like, who are these people? I would have loved it if we got like a full episode of just like Kamala being in Pakistan, like hanging out with her grandma, and then the episode ends with like her running into the daggers, and then the next episode is like them introducing us to the daggers. But those two things had to be within the same episodes, and it just feels so rushed, especially with like these episodes are only 30 minutes long, and it's like, dude, make them an hour then at least. And then like that episode where it's like we get to see the great grandma.
I thought that was completely useless. That entire episode was completely useless.
It was, but like it would have been cool. Like they could have done like what they did in Mythic Quest, where it's like we just have this one random episode and it's like beautifully done and like very creative. And I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. And then halfway through it, they go back to present day. I'm like, I don't even care about that. I wanted more of the other stuff.
There was more heart in that episode about the people that you know what's going to happen to them than in the rest of the show. And I was like, I don't care anymore.
It's a show that's just like totally plagued with it didn't have enough time. It didn't have enough time.
And it had too much going on. Like there was the whole just to name a few things, there was she gets her power. She doesn't have her powers. She gets her powers. She's hiding it from her parents. Her mom doesn't like her going out. She has some sort of rivalry with her brother, I guess. Her best friend is an orphan, I guess. There's another man competing for her love with her best friend, I guess.
Kamran, yeah.
Her best friend is not Muslim. She's like a converted Muslim, I guess. There's a whole like anti-system that they like showed and was kind of interesting, and then they just completely did away with it. The Illuminantes, which I thought was a great name.
Or
there's a whole.
What was it? Was it Bon Jovi? They called them. It was a cover band called Brown Jovi. I thought
Brown Jovi.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. The whole thing with like the mosque and the police always investigating them, the entire thing with the police or damage control, the behind the scenes of damage control and why this person, any sort of, and also the clandestines, which we don't know anything about, the red daggers we don't know anything about, the cousins that were introduced we don't know anything about, the freaking the grandmother that we barely got introduced to. Right. The dad, who seems supportive, but I don't know why. The dad's friend, who is also on the council, that we don't understand. Like, there are just so many threads intertwined, and none of them connect to anything except for they just relate.
Well, like, I
this
think
is all happening.
All those threads are fine if we had more time to,
dive into them.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like this stuff with her brother, like it's like they love each other and then she ruins his wedding and he doesn't understand
that whole thing too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he's over it in like less than 2 seconds. But it would have been nice if like, instead of him being over it in 2 seconds, like what if at the end he's not over it? And then when he comes to the school at the end, it's like, oh, but he still cares for his sister. Like, ultimately, and like the pushback of like, what if the mosque was like very much against the nightlight lady or whatever, and they're like, we don't like her, but then Kamala shows up there and it's almost like a like Daredevil and his Catholic priest or whatever, and she has that sort of relationship with the guy there, like all of that stuff. Like if it was all fleshed out a little better, and like the Red Daggers, like her having this sort of like lusty relationship with the face mask
The
guy.
red dagger guy, yeah.
It's like I get everything they're going for, right? I understand what they're going for. I like what they're going for. It just isn't flushed out enough. And I think what this show succeeds at the most is just like the cultural aspects of it. Like, you know, my stupid white brain didn't even really know much about the partition or whatever. So like that was kind of interesting to get into, and like the aesthetic of like just seeing like the mosques and like the different, you know, where they had like the fair thing and like them actually going to Pakistan and like, oh, all that stuff was really cool.
Like the community aspect of it was really cool. I feel like this show would have just been better if it was focused. If it was focused on one or two aspects of anything that I listed, it would have been so much. Like, don't include anything else except for the relationship with the brother and I guess the mosque and damage control, dealing with the mosque. Like that could have been it.
Yeah,
that could have been the whole fucking show.
We didn't need the clandestine bullshit because that was the worst part of the show. It felt like the Flag Smashers and Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it was just like,
it was worse than the Flag Smashers because the Flag Smashers had a purpose. The clandestines, I didn't feel like
we need to go home, and it's like, what is your home?
Yeah, it's just
we never
crystals.
see it. Yeah, we never see it. It would have been nice if we saw it. Why do you need to go home?
Why did you betray your best friend? We don't see anything. There's no connection between the audience and the villains, either of the villains.
And one of the worst looking death scenes I've ever seen, where she just like turns into a skeleton and is like, oh, that's okay. It's really bad. Nick's frozen.
Oh yeah, that was bad. Yeah, that was really bad. I'm frozen. We got pretty far though.
Yeah, there was some like CG moments that were like,
especially in those first few episodes.
Yeah,
I was like, I kind of wanted to throw up a little bit because she like shrinks down to like nothing size and to like jumping around Bruno, and I'm like, God, they thought that was okay. Like, well, I can't hear, but like they thought that was okay to put on there, and it's like, okay.
And I don't mind the like changes to her powers. I never thought her powers looked good though. Like I didn't like weird crystal-y thing. I didn't really like the way it looked, but I don't mind that they changed her powers because in the comics she's like stretchy and that's her thing.
She's stretchy.
She's like Mr. Fantastic or whatever. But in this, they're like, let's just make her a Green Lantern, and I'm like, okay, cool. We need a Green Lantern in the MCU. That's fine.
That was another thing. Like it was like, hey, whatever you believe, you're like in the first episode, they're like, she's super creative, she's super artistic. They did nothing with that, even though she can create literally whatever she wants. She's just like, here's platforms.
Well, it feels like that's like, what they wanted to do, but then they're like, oh, budget and time constraints doesn't allow us to do this, right? Yeah. And it feels like that's what happened with a lot of the CG, which is why I was like, then just go into the more human elements of the show. That, you know, not to, it's hard not to compare it because these things were premiering at the same time, right? So like one day I'm watching, this show, Miss Marvel, and the next day I'm watching The Boys, which is like peak fucking superhero television. Yeah. But the thing with The Boys is there are some moments where it's like, damn, that looks really fucking cool and really nice. And they use a surprising amount of practical effects in The Boys and stuff, and like there's some cool stuff going on. But like a lot of The Boys is not them like fighting and like doing like crazy actiony stuff. A lot of The Boys is just them talking to each other and just like going around, and like just the thought of Homelander, the bad guy, like killing you is enough for me visually. And like there's one fight scene, minor spoilers for The Boys, where we see Homelander fight someone else. And it's not like the most impressive technically thing, but like it got built up in the story so much.
And it's awesome.
That when it got there, it's like, yes, like that was sick. And that they could have done that with this show. Same with Peacemaker too. Like there was nothing crazy in Peacemaker that was like, it was just like, I like seeing these characters interact with each other. Like John Cena is just so likable, and there's enough of those characters in the show to do that. Like the actor who plays Kamala has that kind of charisma to carry a show like that. And like the family aspects, like you could have just done more of that instead of showing me like her shooting like horrible crystals all the time. Like
I didn't. Yeah, we didn't need to see the powers. We really didn't. We just needed to connect with the character. And at the end, maybe even the final episode, the final 20 minutes, she has like her power. She like uses her powers in a really cool thing, and you build it up to that point, and it's like, wow, this is cool because you've grown with the character. In this, it's just like, I feel like it's like a slideshow, like your grandfather coming out and going, all right, let's put the slides on. And you're just like watching slides of a vacation. And you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about what's happening.
I liked at the end though, when she like finally harnesses her powers and they do like kind of, I don't know. She learns to accept
it. She just goes enlarge.
But like, I like that.
Great.
They're like, I like that they're like, yeah, let's make it like the comic books where it is like she's stretchy, but it's like a Green Lantern thing. I liked that part of it, but like them hiding inside of like this crystal igloo was like, do I need this? You could have had this thing where it's like she tackles him into a hallway or something, and they talk to each other or whatever. Like we don't need them inside of a fucking igloo being shot at by all these people. Like
how fucking long does it take for people to go into a high school? Like they set up all of these fucking traps within like I'm gonna say like 4 hours, and the cops never moved in on them.
Yeah,
like there was no conversation. Come out of the building. It was literally just like go in, wait for you to set all your traps.
Well, and
now we're going.
I like the idea where it's like, oh, it's like Home Alone but inside a school, and it would have worked a lot better if most of the show took place inside of the school where they're like hanging out.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what the show should have been, is a high school story, like the old X-Men shows where we just saw them like going to lunch together and stuff, like that shit. You know,
character development. Like that's all we needed. Focus on 6 characters. 5 characters, whatever, and tell their story.
I don't think you can tell this story where they're like going to high school every day in 6 episodes, like because you need the episode where she goes to Pakistan to visit her great grandpa or her grandma or whatever.
Do you?
I think you do, and just to like show that culture and like her grandma and stuff,
to show the culture for sure, but
like, to explain the partition stuff, and like I think you needed that. But like then that takes away from her being in New Jersey.
Yeah, and like her story in general. Yeah.
Like such an important part of this show and her character is being in New Jersey. But you go away for 1 episode, and that's like, you know, that's 1/6 of the show, and like, but then you're gone for 2 episodes, and you know, now we're getting close to half the show. You're not in New Jersey, where like most of the show should have been in New Jersey. And that's the problem with this 6 episode format.
Yeah. I feel like the show could have just started in the high school and ended in the high school in like that same week, you know, just 1 week. They're just in high school. We don't get any other spot. We just get the high school, like to tell the story, not saying any cultural stuff, but just to tell a story. You could have just focused on the high school aspect, or focused on like the family aspect, and just showed her with her family, doing things with her family. That's the biggest problem I have with this, is just the focus is just kind of, let's do everything. And
you know, we're going to get a season 2 of the show. Like you could have saved some of that clandestine stuff for season 2. Where it's like this season, we're focusing more on the agents coming after her and stuff. Yeah. And we're hinting at the clandestines, but that we don't get the full resolution of the clandestines because we're saving that for season 2, right?
Or even like a movie, like the Marvels movie.
So the Marvels, I feel like, is going to be pretty disconnected from all of this. You know, like I don't think we're going to get answers to like Kamran and all that stuff.
No, it'll be something else.
Yeah, obviously we got the post-credits scene where they like switch spots for some reason. I saw something that like it's something to do with the bangle or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. Ultimately, I thought the show was okay. I liked a lot of parts of it, but like, I just felt like it wasn't long enough.
Yeah. That's the problem with uh the shows,
I think all of
honestly.
them have had this
Yeah.
problem. I
Yeah.
I Moon Knight especially.
Especially Moon Knight was like,
Or
I just
like
feel like the
Moon
show.
Knight could have been a movie as well. Like I would have been fine with a
Oh
movie
yeah.
for that one.
One The one that I can see being this long is where is it? Where is it? WandaVision. You
WandaVision
know,
worked, but WandaVision was also 7 episodes. It had an extra
it
episode.
didn't need that seven, because the way they were telling it was like each generation of TV show, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. And so 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. You know, and I
Yeah.
guess you could do
And then the
episode
finale.
7 with, and then the finale. But like
So,
that was great, because it made sense
yeah, and
to have that many episodes.
they used that format to their benefit where like they didn't with this because it's like you could have made this, I know a lot of people shit on this, but you could have made this like a Degrassi type show but with superhero shit. And that's kind of
Yep,
what I was hoping for with this show.
yep,
And they
yep.
hinted
Me
at
too.
it and we got a little bit of a hint of it, but it wasn't enough. And like, the character at the end, I think her name was like Zoe or Chloe or something at the end,
Zoe, yeah,
who's just like there with her at the end
yep,
because she saved her. And it's like, I don't even know who this character is.
yep.
You,
Yep.
we saw her in the first episode and you saved her. Is she like the bully? Is she like a mean girl? Like, who is this person? I don't know.
She was supposed to be a mean girl, but we never saw her be
They
mean,
never,
except when Kamala was like, "Oh, that's the mean girl over there," and like literally that
yeah,
was the only thing. It was just like, "You're gonna have to take my word for it," and it's like, okay, great,
yeah. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating because it's like, man, this show could have been the best one, and it wasn't.
yeah,
It wasn't. I liked Hawkeye though. I will say, of all these shows, I really like Hawkeye. I gotta throw
no,
that out there.
okay. I mean, Hawkeye was
I'm
better
just
than
saying.
this show for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
I totally agree. Yeah.
and it focused on, you know, 2 or 3 relationships, and that was it. So
Yeah, and I like the family aspect of this show and like the fact that, her mom made the suit and her dad gave her the
yeah,
name. Like I like that stuff, but like it didn't feel like you did enough with it. Like you just
no,
didn't do enough with it. Yeah, it's so frustrating because it's like
it is
it's right
very
there.
frustrating.
It's right
Yeah.
there.
It was so good. It was, you had it. And then it was just like, we're going to take all of these pieces off, and here you go. It's
Yeah.
like, great, cool. That's sure. Oh, okay.
It's
Can I have
missing
more?
I
Like,
guess it's like it's missing all the connective tissue. Like the
yeah.
big spots and points are there, but it doesn't have the connective tissue that makes it feel like a full cohesive story.
Yeah.
Um,
It doesn't make me care. I just
yeah,
didn't care about anything that was going on. I
yeah,
watched it. I watched it mostly for the style and the culture. I
yep,
was like, this is interest. The style and the culture are very interesting. Everything else, I'm like, I really don't want to watch another episode of this. I was
yeah,
like, gotta do it. Gotta do it for science. Like this is one of those shows. If we didn't have this show, I would have been like, no, I'm not watching anymore.
yeah. I
That's
I would watch all these things just because I'm a shill, dude. I'm a shill.
yeah,
They've got me by the balls, but yeah, I don't know. I
yeah.
I don't think this is the worst of the shows. You probably disagree, but
What do you
um,
think's worse than this?
uh, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
And maybe Moon Knight.
Mm. Oh, I don't know,
I
dude.
hate to.
Falcon and Winter Soldier had the connections. Falcon and Winter Soldier was like the closest thing to the boys that we got. You know, it had this bad like flag smashers thing in it, but everything else was really decent. You know, I
Yeah, I don't know.
felt.
I guess it's just I like so much of the style and like what the show was going for. It just didn't completely land, and
Well,
maybe it's just like in my head I can see what it was.
yeah.
I could see what it was trying to be, but not what it actually
Hmm.
was.
You got those rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe you have rose-colored glasses for Falcon and Winter Soldier because it's
I
been
liked
over.
it.
It's
I
been over a
liked it.
year.
I liked it even then. I liked it
Yeah.
even then. Like it wasn't the best for sure, but
It definitely had some of the
really
best CG out of all these shows. Like that fucking fight scene where they're like where he's flying around with the helicopter. That shit looked amazing. There was nothing
Yeah.
like that in this show.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I like the grittier like essence of it too, you know.
Well, I don't
Look,
think Miss Marvel needs to be gritty.
no, for sure, but I felt it was necessary for that in some
Oh yeah,
cases.
for sure.
Um,
I like the lighthearted nature of Miss Marvel, and like I feel like that's where
yeah, I mean you're gonna have both. You're gonna have
she
it,
should
it
be
should be that
closer.
way.
She should be closer to like Spider-Man than, you know.
Mhm.
And they definitely had like the ties to Spider-Man in this, where it's like the same agent from Spider-Man. So like it's connected in a way, but like I don't know. It just it didn't nail it as hard as Spider-Man did. Where it's like I really fucking loved all of Spider-Man's friends. Well, I like all of her friends in this too. It's just like I didn't.
Yeah, they're nobodies. Like
Yeah,
they're faces, but there's nothing behind them. Is the problem.
I guess I see where they are, and like I almost hope for a season 2, and I hope season 2 is 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about it, let's rank these.
Yes,
shall we? I
yes,
think my
yes, yes.
internet's coming back, so I'm gonna try to do this
Hold
really
on.
quickly.
I can. I gotta pull it up. Hold on now.
Let me pull it up. So this
Got
this is going to be our Loner Cast MCU rankings for all of the MCU and our combined thoughts. This is our combined list. So this is not Jake's list. This is not my list. This is both of our lists kind of smashed together and put together like fucking jelly. Like I have red jelly, Jake has green jelly, and we just went, and it's just all of it.
Yeah.
So here we go. Our first pick for best MCU movie is and show Avengers Endgame. Next up, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. At 3, Loki. 4, Iron Man. 5, Avengers Infinity War. 6, Spider-Man No Way Home. 7, Thor Ragnarok. 8, Guardians of the Galaxy. 9, WandaVision. 10, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 11, Eternals. 12, Captain America Civil War. 13, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. 14, Spider-Man Far From Home. 15, Spider-Man Homecoming. 16, Captain America The First Avenger. 17, Ant-Man. 18, Black Panther. 19, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. 20, Doctor Strange. 21, The Avengers. 22, Hawkeye. 23, Black Widow. 24, Moon Knight. 25, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 26, Thor Love and Thunder. 27, Iron Man 3. 28, Avengers Age of Ultron. 29, Iron Man 2. 30, Incredible Hulk. 31, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 32, Captain Marvel. 33, Thor in the Dark World. And number 34 at the bottom of our list, Thor.
I feel like we have those backwards, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
What, Thor and Thor? The two Thors? No, dude. Thor Dark World's slightly better.
Oh, okay.
Because Thor doesn't do anything.
I'd have to rewatch them, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it. Like it doesn't matter once we're down here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you say it first because I said the last one first.
Yeah, we forgot to mention one very important thing about this show, which is the introduction of mutants.
I felt like they did that in Multiverse of Madness.
Sort of, just like Charles being there.
Yeah, we do get that.
Yeah, which was cool.
I thought it was dumb. I thought the placement of it was really dumb.
Really? I actually thought that was one of the better moments of the show, where it was like, I just thought it was cool, and I liked her reaction to it, where she's like, "It'll just be another label," and it's like, that's how mutants feel about it. Yeah, that's I like that.
Yeah, that I liked what was said about it. I just thought like, oh, she's just running, and he pulls up in a Porsche and goes, "Your blood is different." That's it. Okay, great, cool. Because
he's trying to tell her like, hey, the power doesn't really come from the bangle. It comes from within you, you know?
Right. Right. It was just so force fed, I felt. Like,
Yeah.
we're just
I
gonna tell you
liked
this on
it.
a random street. It could have told you this literally anywhere, but yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Okay.
It made me smile, and I was like, "Oh shit, we're getting mutants finally! It's
Yeah,
happening."
I'm glad. I'm
Even though
glad.
even though in the comic books she's not a mutant, she is an inhuman, which is a
Mhm.
different thing. But
It's a different thing.
Marvel's like, fucking humans. We're doing just pure mutants all the time.
I mean, I wonder what they're gonna do if they introduce Inhumans. Like, at some point, they're gonna
They
have
had-
to, right?
They had a show and it failed, so I don't think they will. There was
Well,
an Inhuman
I don't
show that no
Anyway,
one watched.
yeah,
Okay.
I believe it. Where would you put this?
Fuck.
Honestly,
God
where would
damn
you
it.
put it?
Well,
Stop thinking about where I'm gonna put it.
Well, no, I'm not. It's hard
Okay.
because our lists are now becoming so different, right? Because I wouldn't have
Yeah.
Thor, Love and Thunder this low, but you know, it's a group list, so
Dude, it's a group like, I don't know why we decided to do this. It is really terrible.
I love it.
As it goes, it's just becoming a fucking conglomerate monster.
It's just
and
we put it somewhere.
it's very strange. It's a very odd list, and I don't think anybody anywhere else has a list that looks like this.
I kind of love it though. I kind of love it.
It's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I would put it. I'd put it between. I put it right above Moon Knight, I guess.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's so far down on the
Yeah,
list.
we're pretty low on the list.
But do you want to hear my fucking take on this? I went through this at work.
You think it's
today.
the worst one?
I went through it and I'm like, not better than that. It's not better than that. It's not better than, and I just kept going and going and going and going and going, and I'm like, dude, I would watch Thor: The Dark World over this again. Mike's present. Yeah, like it's above Thor, but it is so bad it is not above Thor: The Dark World. That's where I would put it. It's down there for me. I was not having a good time at this show at all.
Damn.
I mean, aside from a couple of things, it has the bones, but I don't think it deserves anything of any praise.
I mean, I can't even remember Thor: The Dark World, and I feel like I'll remember this show more than that. So
okay, well, I don't want to put it above Thor: Love and Thunder because I feel like that was better.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. That's why I was like, it feels weird to put it between Falcon and Winter Soldier, even though I think Thor: Love and Thunder is like way better than it. But yeah, we could just put it let's put it below Thor: Love and Thunder. How about that?
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. That puts it. I'm happy with that because it puts it right at the very bottom of all of the TV shows, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, so that's fine with me. As long as it's below every other TV show, that's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
There it is. There you have it, boys.
27.
This list, dude. This list is gonna be fucking jank.
Yeah, and the more I look at these things, I'm like, I don't know. Should Captain Marvel be that low? I don't know.
Like, no, because we watched them and we literally put them in this list, and
Yeah.
it made sense. It made sense for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Until we started having like conflicting ideas, and
to be honest, we haven't had that many conflicting ideas.
I think Thor: Love and Thunder was a big one.
That was probably our biggest one, and then this one. But even that is still pretty low for both of us.
Multiverse of Madness was pretty up there too.
Yeah, you had it lower, I think, right?
Phase 4 is pretty all over the place between me and you.
I think that's been everyone's reaction, where it's like some people really love it, some people really hate it. I think I lead towards the loving it,
Love it. Yeah.
and you lean towards the not liking it so much, which
You know,
is
don't get me wrong, I like what they're doing with Phase 4. I like the fact that they're giving more freedoms. That just means that as soon as you give somebody who doesn't have the experience or, isn't a good story writer or a good director even, that it's just gonna fall out. It's gonna fall
well,
off and it's
I
not
feel
gonna be
like
good. So we're gonna have good and bad.
what
And
you're
we'll
saying.
see the talent.
I feel like what you're saying is true. Like, we're getting more freedoms with like the movies. I don't think that's true with the shows.
You don't well, you could be right because it's only 6 episodes.
The shows
So,
feel way more sanitized than the movies, in my opinion, with when it comes to Phase 4.
yeah.
Like, and
Maybe
not
maybe
all the
it's
shows have
because
been
the
bad.
show.
Obviously, Loki's pretty high on our list, but like,
Yeah. Yeah, and WandaVision too. But um
yeah.
maybe it's because the shows are setting up more so than the movies are.
Well, I also think they're just starting to pump them out at such a quick clip. Where like
That too.
WandaVision felt like it had a creative direction. Like
Mhm.
I know I forget the director and writer. They had the same director through the whole thing. But like this show feels like I don't know. It could have been anyone directing it. You
Well,
know.
I mean, it had direction at the beginning and then it just kind of lost it. So like
Yeah.
it feels like 2 episodes is a different person. The
Yeah.
first 2 episodes was very like it's all about style. The next 2 episodes is like it's all about powers. The next episode is like or it's all about, the the backstory and then the last one was all about her powers, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll regret having Eternals that high. I
I
don't.
don't
I
know.
like it.
I liked Eternals, dude.
I like being a contrarian to everyone fucking hating Eternals, and I'm like, I
I
liked it.
liked Eternals, man. There was 6 characters in that movie and they did a good job writing most of them.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
yeah.
The
I
worst
mean
part of Eternals was the post-credit scene.
the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Anyway, that's it. Marvel. That was marvelous.
Ha.
uh,
What's the
next next week we're doing some Star Wars. I think. What would it be?
yeah,
Solo.
it'll
Solo.
be Solo. Star Wars episode Solo.
Star Wars episode Solo. And
Yeah.
then I think the week after that would be Rogue One. And then the week after that, we have a convention.
Yeah.
So that works
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah.
perfect. We'll get the 2 like middle movies, and then we'll
Mhm.
come back for
Yeah.
the original trilogy. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
subscribe, give us money. We're poor. We do this for free.
We do this because we love it.
We love it. And we love you.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Look up Lonercast on podcast services. And look up Last Week in Games while you're at it. It's a good time. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it's a great time. Just like when you're with your mom.